Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Totally Awesome Podcast. My name is JoshAgeddon, and I am joined by two lovely gentlemen here, Sean McCarty.
And here comes a giant fist!
the giant fist himself, known as Sean McCarty. And we're also joined by the Bay Area brawler, Skyler Greenberg. How are you, Skyler?
All I want for Christmas is the fucking do Rhea Ripley.
Okay, first off, you cannot steal... You can't... and the big fist. I was about to say, you're stealing Sean's wish. And then he was like, I have the big fist.
I didn't say that Sean didn't have to join in on this.
And then Rhea whispers in your ear, this is my brutality.
Anyways.
Christ. That is how we're opening this review. We watched Crown Jewel. Yeah, we're at Sweet Saudi Money 10. Why are we doing this again? And I am joined by the two jewels in my crown, my two lovely friends. All right, so Sean.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on this wonderful premium live event that we had the pleasure of watching?
You know, I liked it. I did. I had myself a good old time, although I did watch it in very weird order because I caught pieces of the show when it was live. I caught part of Cena and Solo. I caught part of Cody and Damian, and I caught the whole main event. And then I had to go back and watch the subsequent parts and still skip the women's five-way. And all in all, there was more good on this show than there was bad. It's just typical formatting problems that, as usual, hamper most WWE programs nowadays.
All right, Skyler, your turn.
So, we could rehash the whole blood money thing. Personally, given the atrocities that have happened in the Middle East in the last couple of months, I feel like going to Saudi Arabia is the least of my concerns.
Yeah.
But having said that, and all the other stuff that's been going on, I will say that I did enjoy this show. This was a good wrestling show. There's that thing that WWE does where, like, yeah, you like that, don't you? Yeah, you like that, don't you? Well, I'm going to do something to piss you off.
Let's ruin it.
Let's kill it.
I'm like, yeah, you've had fun for 2 or 3 hours, but then the last bit, you're just like, oh, okay.
All right, so you both liked the show. I also liked the show. It clearly wasn't their best show of the year. I think it's one of the weaker shows of the year, but they haven't had a bad show all year, so I still thought it was an enjoyable show myself, and we're going to get into it here. Did either of you watch the pre-show match? Sami Zayn versus J.D. McDonough. Got awful quiet in here.
What is it, an AEW show?
Ooh.
So neither of... Wow, you know what? You're right. But so neither of you watched the pre-show.
No. I'm going to rub some oldest oil to relax my back because it's tensing up at the thought of watching a pre-show.
Okay, Joshua, I'm going to surprise you. I did watch the pre-show.
You did not watch the pre-show.
No, I did watch it.
Oh, you did.
I didn't see the match.
You didn't see you didn't see the match?
No, I saw the match.
Okay.
Oh, my back.
So tell us about the match, Skyler. While Sean's over there in desperate need of a masseuse.
Oh, more than you know, buddy boy. Oh.
The thing about this match was that this was Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. This felt like a TV match that was just put on here for really no reason other than to have both guys be in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. I personally... I'm going to shock the audience myself here. I actually did watch the pre-show. Well, I didn't watch the pre-show. I watched this match, and then I muted everything else because the panel still sucks.
There's nothing that's going to make the panel good.
Why do that? Get rid of it. At this point, get rid of it.
It's a waste of time. Nobody watches it.
Yeah. And I still have no idea who the three people that are on it are. I don't want to know who they are. I love the ongoing gimmick of you see the panel and you're just like Patrick Starr coming home to his rock. Who are you people?
Editor, put that in.
This isn't your show, Sean, but I will.
Who are you people?
See? That's what I said.
Joshua, we all know you stuff for Sean, so you'll do whatever he tells you to do.
You know what? You're right. But again, this was a solid match while people were still getting into the building. I did notice at one point that JD had a huge, like, it looked like a huge bruise, but it was red on his side. So I don't know what happened to cause that, but that looked very painful.
It happened with a Drew McIntyre match that happened a couple weeks ago.
Oh, wow. And there was one point in the match, the highlight of the match, Sami Zayn went for a diving move, and JD caught him with a gorgeous-looking midair dropkick. I loved that. And the finish was a haluva kick and a blue thunder bomb. 1, 2, 3. Sami Zayn wins. It was a TV match.
I'm just sick of the whole is JD McDonough gonna join the Judgment Day thing. Like, can we just get to this already?
But Skyler, this is WWE. There's still milk in the cow somewhere. We have to find it and then squeeze it out.
Whatever.
Either that or the cow just tips over dead.
I would also like to just do one more indictment of this match and then we'll move on to the main show. Back in May when they were in Saudi Arabia, Sami Zayn was in the main event with Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa.
Yeah.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. And then you said, Sean, before, when it comes down to it, if you're not part of the bloodline, you're not part of a major story.
Well, lipstick in my Valentino bag. Look, okay. The problem is, I really do believe that as good as the intentions were after WrestleMania 39, there was zero plan for the tag team division after Sami and Kevin won the belt. I still believe that, as evidenced by it doing what it's been doing recently. I don't really necessarily think that's Sami's fault. I think that they were involved in the storyline, but they didn't really have anything else to anchor themselves to. And because the Judgment Day is like the bloodline in training, because they always do interference, but they're not like the bloodline where it works. They never work. And so it's disappointing to see Sami there, but at the same time, I feel like they still have plans for Sami. I don't think they have plans for Kevin, really, though.
They do have plans. It's just they're going to have him feud with Grayson Waller for a while. After that, I got no idea.
So yeah, they don't have plans.
Basically.
Yeah.
I did like on SmackDown when he punched them, both him and Austin Theory simultaneously. That was funny. And then he started chasing after Jamie Noble, saying, "Jamie, come here! I did it!" I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, I'm unfortunately gonna pass this cough medicine over to Skyler real quick, and then
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so why don't we sink our teeth into this, because we don't want to be taking the NyQuil. But this show was very, very, very decently long.
Yes,
for
it
the amount
was.
of matches that were on it.
We started things off with Seth Rollins defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre in what I thought was easily the match of the night. Best thing on the entire show. I was a little surprised that they started with this, although I'm glad they did, because if they put this on later in the show, you know, when the crowd kind of died for a while, that would have sucked. So I'm glad that this got the energy from the crowd that it did, because it needed it.
Isn't it nice to have world title matches that have wrestling in it?
Yeah.
Again, I have criticisms for the bloodline, i.e., we no longer get wrestling matches for the Universal title.
I slightly disagree, but I understand what you're saying.
It's not the Universal title anymore. It's the WWE Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship.
Can we drop the Universal name? I so badly. I will not rest. I will not find peace in the afterlife until they drop the word Universal from that damn title.
I will keep Universal, but they cannot continue to use Undisputed.
It is very much in dispute right now.
Like, literally, you have a third world's champion. Like, you cannot call it Undisputed.
And they're like, watch us.
I know, literally. I got a tickle out of that, because they keep calling Seth the world's champion, but it's just on this planet. We don't see Seth fight on Mars yet.
Yeah. I'm not even joking. The day, you know that the day will soon come where they drop the word Universal from that title, making the whole kit and caboodle of having that title be completely meaningless. And when that day comes, I'm going to throw a party.
Good. Have yogurt-covered pretzels.
I don't like pretzels.
Well, I will bring yogurt-covered pretzels. And Drew McIntyre, you can still see the slow burn in Drew, but man, I wish they would finally just get to the meat of the matter and turn this in, motherfucker.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like he needed to lose this match to continue the heel turn, but
He did.
again, like we've said, WWE loves to take their sweet-ass time.
Well, the other thing that's interesting, too, is that Drew got quite a positive reaction from this crowd.
The crowd very much wanted to see a title change.
Yeah, and that was not going to happen.
And you can understand it because of the way they've set this up. I mean, Drew McIntyre, nothing he's saying is wrong, and everyone kind of feels bad for him. Although, one thing that I love was mentioned was the way how Drew was like, my moment got ruined at WrestleMania because of COVID, and Seth Rollins going, dude, people died during COVID, cry me a river. I do like that they threw that in there to make Drew seem kind of like a dick, even though you understand where he's coming from.
Well, and that's
he is a dick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big Daddy Dick.
But before Big Daddy Dick wobbled his sword around into the ring, we got a sparkly vagina coming out first.
On this episode of What the Fuck is Seth Wearing?
Now, this is not the first time he has dressed up as a vagina.
I don't even think it's the 10th time that he's done this.
It's the time that it's been sparkly, though.
Dude, there's one day he's going to come out dressed as a vagina, and there's going to be pyro attached to it, and he's just going to start shooting out of the vagina outfit.
I'm sorry, he was not dressed as a vagina. He was dressed as Elton John's taint.
Oh, God. All old and wrinkly and... yeah, but there's no way that Elton John's taint at this age is still that pink. Unless he's bleaching that son of a bitch. Which, if he is, good on him. If he is at, whatever, 78 years old or whatever, if he's bleaching his taint, good for Elton John. But...
My God.
And I would have loved for just to have Seth come out in, like, a Ric Flair type robe like this. And just tone it down just a little.
But Sean, all of the flight attendants were on the plane. They weren't in the arena, so it wouldn't have had the same effect.
Well, we did get that great advertisement right after this for the airline that Saudi Arabia has, so I don't even think they allow women on airplanes.
Yeah, Saudi's the only place that has male, like, stewardesses.
And speaking of, that's why we got Byron Saxton in a goatee wearing a snazzy suit doing the in-ring announcements instead of Clutch My Balls, Samantha Irvin.
Dude, this was both a...
sure that's not Samantha Irvin finally growing a pair of balls?
Yeah, that's her final form. That's her ultimate metamorphosis.
Yeah, that's her evolution. That's right.
Okay, speaking of that, I have both a positive and a negative about that. Positive. Samantha Irvin was nowhere in sight. That's a wonderful thing. I can't stand her. The negative, though, Byron Saxton sounded so overly animated, like he was clutching his own balls. Like, I've heard him ring announce before, and he was fine and generic, but my God, they took him to the make sure you overly enunciate everything to the most obnoxious degree, and I wanted to strangle him.
You know, the funny thing was, I thought he was actually refreshing. He wasn't as bad until he got to John Cena, and then we remembered he graduated from the Justin Glitchbot School of Announcing.
Yeah.
And, yeah, but he did have a very nice goatee. But let's pass it over to our Air Barack Obama announce table.
Oh, God. The second that Michael Cole couldn't say the word Arabic, we were in for a long night.
Yeah, oh yeah. Michael Cole, Are we sure this wasn't JR in any AEW show?
No, this was, well...
No, because Michael Cole sounded excited to be there.
Yeah, I was going to say, Michael Cole has passion in his voice.
Okay, if JR still had a soul.
Yeah.
Are we sure he had a soul? I'm pretty sure Vince McMahon probably sold it to the devil.
I mean,
he couldn't possibly have. He fired JR like 9 times. He never kept it long enough to get it.
No, he didn't fire JR. Kane fired JR that one time. But anyway.
Well, let's talk about this match. Let's actually get into this match because this match deserved commentary.
It was very good. It was very good.
I feel like this might be. I don't know about this one or the Finn Balor match at SummerSlam, but I feel like this might have been the best match of Seth's title reign thus far.
I think this one was better because there was at least a little bit of maybe Drew wins it.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Seth and Drew wrestle each other 100 times like we've seen Finn and Seth wrestle each other 100 times.
And they did reference, and I liked the fact that they referenced that Drew's first title defense was against Seth in 2020 after he won the title. Like, I like that they are trying to, like, incorporate some of their history into their storylines.
Yeah.
Like, I do appreciate that. That's something that we always wished they would do more of with the Simply Vince era.
And one little detail that I loved is they even mentioned how he, like, vaguely in passing mentioned, like, it didn't work out the WrestleMania after when he lost to Bobby Lashley. So they really covered all their bases with the build-up to this. And
I did because they had to.
Again, I'm not used to them doing this.
Which is wonderful. I'm very much enjoying that. But, man, I forgot until Drew got into this match just how much I like Drew McIntyre's work.
Oh, yeah.
The spine busters.
That spine buster, when he hit that, I said out loud, Sean's going to love that.
I did.
And I followed up with that backbreaker, like...
Yep. I did think the tope belly to belly was safe, but it was a little clunky. Like, it would have been nice if they had gotten all of that in, like, one fluid motion, but they didn't kill Seth, so I'm not going to be mad.
I thought he landed kind of weird. He didn't, like, land flat. He kind of landed almost at an angle, and I was like, your hip, watch your hip. Pivot! Pivot!
Well, the thing you have to remember is that these guys, while being some of the best in the world, are not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And honestly, they didn't have to be, because the crowd was hot enough where they didn't really care that much if there wasn't anything that didn't look great. For example, one of the moves that I really have gotten tired of seeing, and it's just like an in-passing sequence, is when somebody Irish whips a guy into the corner and they just, like, do the jump over whether the guy's coming and charging in behind them or not, just anticipating that the person behind them is. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And Seth goes to do that. Drew almost hits him in the gut.
I'm glad that they got the camera angle where they did, because if they got any other camera angle, it would have been completely obvious that it was a whiff. And even Wade Barrett was like, that connected, kinda.
I was gonna say, even still, with the angle they did show us.
I don't think there was a good angle for that one.
No, but it was just a little bit closer would have been great. But you know, it's what it is. What am I supposed to be mad at?
Yeah.
But I still love the spot. Like, I still love that because I never see people counter that. And it happens in almost every match. Again, and Drew is showing, Seth rather, is once again showing his versatility of, I'm going to do a different kind of match for a different person in every match that I'm in. Including a V-trigger.
Oh, yeah. Without the wind-up prissy dance that Kenny Omega's infamous for.
Yes, and the bulging of his eyes out to either side. You know,
Kenny Omega wishes that he was Seth Rollins.
I love both of them.
Kenny Omega wears to the ring.
Huh?
Well,
to be
fair to Kenny Omega, he was wearing ridiculous outfits before Seth started.
Yeah, but Seth does it better.
They're both ridiculous.
It depends on what we're talking about.
Depends on which outfit.
Goofier. Seth has kind of made the goofiness work for him in a Waluigi style way, where Kenny's just like he's just over the top goofy. He's just, I don't have a good comparison, but more than Seth in a gawkier way, I guess. Seth has kind of made it work for him, at least in my opinion. This weird hopping around thing works for me, even though more people like his song. And I do like the fact that Drew mentioned that too.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I thought was kind of funny before the match, the crowd was trying to sing Seth's song before that part of the song started, and it was so off, and then the song started doing that part, and the crowd was like, oh, there it goes, and then then magically they were able to do it. That was kind of funny.
They have it in the song. That right there is why they have it in the song. You cannot rely on the fans to keep a tune.
No.
They couldn't carry a tune to save their lives.
Calm down, Joaquin Phoenix. Calm down. Murray is not here. No one's going to be shot, I don't think.
Well, we did just see Seth do a V-trigger.
Yeah.
Then we get the superplex to Drew that Drew then countered with his own suplex that we saw Seth and Damian do like a month ago.
I still... As soon as I saw Seth do a regular Falcon Arrow early in the match, I immediately was like, he's going to go for the superplex roll through, and then Drew's going to counter and no-sell the superplex. And I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Well, it would have been nice if Drew, maybe Seth tried to do that, but Drew just like thunderclapped his head and then hit him with another belly-to-belly instead.
Yeah.
But again, I'm picking nits here. It was still fine. Because then we get that spinebuster to the steps.
Oh, yeah. And then the sidewalk slam to the apron.
Yep.
And I love that usually in wrestling, whenever someone has like a kayfabe injury, for a feud, once that feud's over, they never bring up that injury ever again. But they're not forgetting about Seth's bad back. And I like that.
Well, that's the whole thing, that's part of Seth Rollins' gimmick right now, is that he's on this kind of last magic run. It's a matter of if it runs out for him, and his back can only do so much, as he's literally carrying the company on his back.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And this leads me to my big, one of my big issues on the night. I'm going to say that there is an officiating problem here in this evening. Nobody is counting.
Yeah, I also noticed that.
Everybody, and a part of it is match structure. Is that they stay outside in these matches. It's a modern formatting style, but they stay outside in these matches for far too damn long. And they always have to have the announcers go, well, it's referee's discretion that we don't ever have this rule anymore. And it just, especially if you're going to have, like, the jump in later for the women's match at the count of 9, like, I need some officiating consistency. It's one thing if it's the world title match, okay, but, like, but still.
I feel like the most egregious example of that was in the main event.
It was, but I noticed it here as well, and I'm like, come on, God, like, this is a formatting thing. Again, this is just modern match structure. And I just wish they wouldn't bury the referees like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Also not be doing their job correctly.
Yeah.
Well, and if that's true, then he'd be counting people out. And if that's not the finish, then what? It's like you've put the referees in a bad position where then they have to just stop counting, which is what happened at the main event, and just go, hey guys, come on, I'm gonna just.
Don't do that. Get back in here. Get back in here, please.
Yeah, it's like the pussification of referees has really been an ongoing problem in WWE for some time, and admittedly, it's gotten better. And it's just, but it's moments like this, and even in Triple H's NXT, this was something he was guilty of.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember Dominic Dijakovic versus Keith Lee had a similar problem, if we recall the reviewing that we had of that match.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago, but I remember they sat up there and fought down out there for a good long time, as long as this ends.
Sean, you got possessed by one of my relatives for a second there.
Yeah, the spirit of the South compels me.
Oh, God.
The spirit of the South compels you. Yee-haw! Yee-haw!
Does the spirit of the South condemn... Not condemn. God damn it. Does the spirit of the South compel these two guys to try and take out their finishers?
Apparently. I will say, the Claymore, that had me. I thought Drew won the match right there, and then the near fall, and I was like, okay, you had me on that one.
Yeah, and that's partially why I wish that it had gone before the Claymore that was countered to the stomp. Like, it's not that I don't want Drew to kick out of Seth's finish, but I still would have liked, for Drew's frustration purposes, him not to have kicked out of Seth's finish. Just for that little extra psychological sting.
Yeah.
But that's just, again, I am picking nits, and it did kind of, like, the false finish with Drew with that Claymore was great, and I think it would have gotten it if that was reversed anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but that's just me, because then the stomp had less of a reaction when he did it and got the pinfall for it.
But all in all, I still feel like this was easily the match of the night.
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't much competition.
Yeah, that is also true. There was a teeny bit of competition, but not enough.
It was different. It was just, the matches were good, and the other matches, they were just different.
Mm-hmm.
This was the best all-around match, and I am still saying, here we are in November, I am still saying, and we're going to say this at the Grapplies, and he's still going to be my nomination, Seth Rollins is the wrestler of the year.
Spoiler, Sean, God. I haven't read the manga yet.
He has been putting in solid work. I'll show you my manga. I'll pick it right off that tree. Anyway, that's a mango. Excuse me.
You mean your manga?
No, he's dead.
We'll get to him. We'll get to your manga very shortly.
You manga.
But then the thing with WWE is that they cannot leave enough alone because we get post-match shenanigans.
I didn't mind this.
This one had a funny ending, so I didn't mind this either, because Damian Priest comes down and takes his sweet-ass time going, yeah, I'm going to cash it in, machine, yeah. And he goes to do that, and then Sami Zayn posts him, and then just, like, tra-la-la's his way out with the briefcase and just runs away with his money in the bank.
Try cashing in now, motherfucker.
It tickled me. I just thought that was really funny. Damian Priest like, get back here.
And I love in the replays, you could hear him screaming, "You've got to be kidding me."
Yeah, that was good.
It was funny.
I enjoyed that. I actually, you know what? Because when was the last time somebody just, like, stole the either, like, the title or the Money in the Bank that wasn't named Otis or The Miz?
Well, what Jay White is doing with MJF right now.
I don't know who those people are.
You don't know who MJF is?
Who?
Not anymore, I don't.
That's fair.
So, in any case...
Sean has retroactively concussed himself.
Back to speaking of things I don't watch...
What a lead-in! What a lead-in!
It's the 5-way women's match for Rhea Ripley's world title.
Yeah.
That she won. Please tell me how it went.
Okay, first off, I have multiple things to say about this. While Sean is tickling himself and Skyler's dying.
Yes.
It was Rhea Ripley versus, according to their entrances and entrance music, 4 different generic CAWs just randomized. Rhea Ripley, in comparison to most women on this show, there is no comparison. Because it was just generic music. Generic person comes out to generic entrance. Generic music. Generic entrance. Generic music. Generic entrance. And then Rhea Ripley, who actually has an actual song. And I'm like, it's literally Rhea Ripley versus 4 defaults. Some a little bit larger than the others. Some a little bit larger than others. But and then Michael Cole. God, with the line that infuriated me more than anything else in the night, he was talking about how Lyra Valkyria is the new NXT Women's Champion. There's some other things going on in the NXT Women's division, and some are being called up and yada, yada, yada. And then he said, and I quote, "Women's wrestling has never been hotter than it is right now in WWE."
Well, that's not possible. They all had to wear skin-tight outfits.
I literally said out loud, Michael Cole, the place where this show is emanating from, if they had their way, there would be no women's wrestling.
Well, okay, first things first, I will rebuttal Sean. Did you see Rhea Ripley in skin-tight black latex?
Hey, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that they're covered in skin-tight head-to-toe stuff, except for maybe Nia Jax. But
I mean, Nia Jax, that's a blessing more than a curse.
Yeah. I was thinking the same. I was thinking, yeah, for Nia, I would just cover her face too.
Well, they haven't gotten to that point yet, but
yeah, I just could not. Here's the thing. What was this Rhea Ripley entrance? Is she suddenly the Undertaker?
I was about to say, she had a bunch of Saudi Arabian druids come out, and it took forever, and then her music finally started, and she just came out and passed all of them, and they did nothing. And I was like,
holding up like cryptic shit.
What was the point of that? And then this match, it was fine, except for whenever Nia Jax was on screen, it was awful. It was your garden variety. There's a lot of people doing things, one at a time, other people on the outside selling. And then there was one good, really, really good thing in this match, and it was when Shayna Baszler had 3 different people in separate submission holds all at once. That was cool. Except,
to me, that was actually goofy as hell.
I loved it. What ruined it, though, is she had 3 people in that hold for too long because green as goose shit Zoe Stark over here missed her cue and was late breaking it up. So they all just had to stand there waiting for Zoe to be like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm supposed to break this, that my spots arrived. So that was kind of goofy. Also, speaking of Zoe Stark, that thing where she jumps over the apron and springs and does like a corkscrew senton, stop doing that. It looks awful. It's for some reason, one of the reasons why women's wrestling in WWE sucks so hard is because all of them are like, we have to do a flip of some kind. At least with the men, we all have to do a flip, but the flips kind of make sense and they kind of do something. With the women, they all have to do some kind of flip some way or another, and they're all too scared to actually lay their shit in, so it just looks goofy and preposterous. I sympathize with Saudi Arabia.
I would have probably hated this match, but you know what I thought of, though? As you all were saying all those words and putting them into sentences,
yeah,
I thought, somebody who also is in contention for Wrestler of the Year is Shayna Baszler. I mean, she had the best match of SummerSlam.
Sean.
And she had this one moment where she had 3 women in a submission hold all at the same time. I mean, why aren't they pushing her into a higher level or to a higher state of getting high?
And she's the one that got pinned.
Yep.
Got it.
I did like the finish, though.
Can I just get to a note real quickly?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let's see here. I wrote this down. I just want to make sure. Did Zoe Stark just stomp on Rhea Ripley's vagina? Probably.
I mean, who wouldn't want to?
Sometimes you have to kick a woman in the vagina to send a message.
Apparently.
That is audio that is now on the internet.
That audio's been on the internet, but not on this channel before.
I mean, it could be worse. You could have said kick her in the pussy.
Kick her right in the pussy.
Joshua, do that next time you see Andy. Go up to her and kick her in the pussy.
No, I'm good.
And then Nia Jax says, my hole.
And I'm like, which one? I have multiple toes.
And then Weird Al says, all of them?
the weirdest foursome ever. Me, Andy, Weird Al, and Nia Jax.
But yeah, this finish where Rhea Ripley does Riptide with Zoe Stark from the top rope on top of Shayna Baszler and Raquel Gonzalez was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the finish. There wasn't that much to this match. It was Rhea Ripley versus other people, and Rhea Ripley won because she's the only person that has any equity whatsoever.
By the way, I do like Rhea Ripley's Joan Jett style haircut.
Her face makeup was a little too ridiculous for my... Stop with the wingtips on everyone!
Well, at least those wingtips were facing downwards, so they looked more like stalactites.
They looked more like she was trying to go with like a skull face look.
Yeah, I still hated it, and still to this day hate it. Stop doing that with the whammon.
I think that all the men should wear face makeup wingtips.
No!
I think every single wrestler should have it. Damian Priest has the eyeliner. At least we're breaking ground. You know?
Alright, so the next match...
Yeah.
So after this, Sean finally rejoined the show. So since me and Skyler were pretty much burying the previous contest, why don't you start us off with Solo Sikoa versus John Cena?
All right. Well, we had 2023 Umanga versus the same old John Cena, same guy he fought,
Yeah.
same moves that he had. But here's the thing I wrote down first. I don't mind referee Jessica Carr. I think she's a fine referee. She does her job just fine.
Better than Aubrey Edwards.
But let me ask you an interesting question. Does having a female referee for any grudge feud or grudge match between two men automatically rule out the possibility of a ref bump?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they would not dare have some dude run into a chick.
We're working on that in equal rights, okay? We're working on it.
Well, it's just an interesting thought I had. Like, doesn't having a female ref in this kind of, like, I'm not saying it predicted anything, but you kind of eliminate tools at your disposal.
I see what you're saying.
You know, it's like, and again, that's no knock on her at all. It was just an interesting formatting question, I guess. Solo Sikoa is a man who is not great at selling.
He sold his hand for a little bit, and then didn't, and then was like, oh yeah, that's right, my thumb hurt.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think this match was very well put together for Solo. Namely, because this match was more back and forth than I think it necessarily should have been, and Solo is not really in a position where having a back and forth style of match caters to his strengths, which is mostly just crushing people and looking dominant. But he doesn't really have the selling skills to match up toe-to-toe with John Cena, and John Cena yelling his spots while he's selling was driving me nuts.
Yep. Greatest of all time, Sean. Did you know that?
They wouldn't stop saying that.
Did you know that? Did you know that John Cena is the... Stop.
Did you know that Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are dating?
Did you know? Did you know things in general? Did you know things?
This is the same kind of marketing that Michael Cole has done on commentary many times before, where they're trying to get the buzzwords. You know the WWE Network is only $9.99?
WWE's marketing is the most insufferable horseshit of all time. We get it.
Well, here's the thing. I have a question for you. Tell me when they're telling lies.
They are. They've been lying since they started this horse shit. The greatest of all... Bret Hart never screamed his spots at the top of his lungs, okay?
Yeah, and I'm almost positive that $9.99 is now the premium plus rate, and not even, like, you can get the base WWE Network for, like, $5 now. Like, you can...
Okay, but anyways, we have yet to hear what the John Cena fan of this group has thought about this match.
Can we see him?
Yes, you can see him.
Where is he, though?
All right, we'll turn your camera on.
This is a podcast. I can't see you.
Whatever. Honestly, and I speak for the truth, this match went way too long. It was a 16-minute match that should have been 5 minutes. It should have been one-sided a la Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and John Cena is not as good as he used to be.
Yeah.
All of those are valid points. I feel like I'm going to surprise you. I kind of enjoyed this match until Solo forgot how to sell for multiple minutes, and I was like, well, there went that. I liked how John Cena attacked the hand at the beginning of the match, because how often do you ever see John Cena target a body part? Like, not very often. Yeah, so I thought that was different, but then it just didn't matter until he was like, until he finally hit John Cena with the Samoan spike, and then was like, oh yeah, that's right, my hand hurts, so I can't go for the cover just yet. Although, there was one thing in this match that annoyed me more than anything else. I get it. Solo has to look at the hard cam and roar before rearing back and going for the Samoan spike. Problem is, they did this and Cena dodged it over and over and over. To the point where I was like, Solo, oh my god, just hit him with it!
Well, that was kind of part of my whole thing. This match kind of exposed just how green Solo still is.
Yeah, he's still green.
Because this is part of my problem with this match was that every time that Solo would hit him with something and he'd go for the cover, yeah, there was no. Skyler sounds more frustrated every time he coughs than Solo Sikoa did after every cover. You know, he covered him and it was kick out, and he had the same again, and he got back up. Like, there was no mounting frustration. He wasn't registering any sort of, like, emotional impact of every kick out, getting more desperate and that's something that John Cena in his heyday did very well. And then John Cena did a choke slam?
Yeah, that was kind of random.
Which, this was after we got the Umaga heel kick, and the Umaga headbutt, and the Umaga side hits, and the Umaga Samoan drop, and Wade Barrett is British and he didn't once say it like that. And that was the most offensive thing on the night.
I'm sorry, but real quick, every time Wade Barrett says Bianca, it fucking kills me. But anyway.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of John Cena calling spots, Michael Cole says, a defenseless Cena, as Cena's sitting there literally talking, looking right up at him. Not even holding his chest. He's literally just laying there talking to Solo.
Yep.
Do we blame? Hold on. Do we blame the camera crew for that or John Cena?
Both.
This was after 3 Samoan spikes, mind you.
Yep.
A defenseless John Cena with no voice, looking up at Solo, calling spots.
Yep.
How could he hear him? It's not only you can't see me, you can't hear me either.
Just starts doing the you can't see me hand gesture just over his Adam's apple.
Yeah. It's just
it's gonna be you can't hear me soon.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're gonna eliminate all the senses, and he's just gonna be like, I don't exist.
Yes. It's John Cena Keller.
Wow.
And that's the second one of those jokes I've landed on JoshAgeddon today.
Dear God. I'm not prepared for any of them. I sold that better than Solo sold in this match.
Yeah, you did. And a lot better than the god-awful cross-face headlock that John Cena put in, that Michael Cole called an STF.
Yep. And Wade Barrett agreed with him.
It was like, you were all wrong. All of you are wrong.
And I was like, I hate all of you. Just...
And then the STF, somehow it made the actual STF look better.
Marginally.
I mean, John Cena's STF has never looked good.
No.
I can think of 2 occasions where it actually looked good, but that's 2 occasions in 20 years.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, with John is that he was able to get away with it before because he had muscles, he had hair, he didn't have wrinkles, he had a tan. Now I'm just looking at it, just like, oh god, it's old man John Cena.
Now he has the Hollywood.
Yeah.
And, and then this finish, here's the thing. I understand what they were trying to go for here, but the Samoan spike doesn't really lend itself to repeated shots like that to end the match.
If you do it right.
Yeah, but he just looked like he was jamming it, like he was just touching, like, literally all points of his neck.
He was like...
I touch you here, I touch you here, I touch you here, I touch you here.
He was like extreme. I'm going to repeatedly poke you on Facebook over and over and over.
Yeah. And,
but...
unless John Cena has to turn down Hollywood roles now because he literally has no voice. He doesn't
have a throat or a neck anymore, allegedly.
John Cena bringing back the silent movie.
I like how Wade Barrett mentioned Charlie Chaplin on commentary. That I thought was funny.
I'll tell you what, though. If John Cena sells this match to that degree and only works silent movies from this point forward for, like, the next 6 months, I will have a much deeper respect for John Cena's level of kayfabe.
Sean, you already aren't going to do that because I didn't mind. I actually kind of liked the repeated Samoan spikes until after Solo left, they had to do the standing ovation, and John Cena was walking around, not, like gasping for air. They didn't have an oxygen machine for him or like a stretcher or anything. No, he was basically like... Thank you guys so much.
Sounds worse than John Cena looked.
Yes, exactly. He greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Tell me when they're telling lies.
They've been lying to you, Skyler, for years now.
Last time we ever see John Cena, Michael Cole says, if John Cena retires in Saudi goddamn Arabia, after being Captain USA for goddamn forever, I will eat a sheep. And the whole sheep. Wool and all. Bones and all. I will grind it into a haggis and eat it. And I will be actually quite satisfied because haggis is fucking delicious. But I will still be upset.
If I have to sit through and listen to Michael Cole slobber all over John Cena's cock for 2 minutes while he's walking up the ramp, I'm going to stab myself with a fork in my ears and in my eyes, and then I will be Helen Keller.
Real talk. If you can hear it.
Yes.
Real talk. Who has the more homosexual relationship? Michael Cole and John Cena, or Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels when it comes to commentator and top guy?
Dude. It is. I would say it's neck and neck, but I feel like it's more shaft and shaft at this point.
Here's the thing: is that Vince made moaning sounds when Shawn Michaels was there.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what?
You're right.
You know what? That does edge it out a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Well, speaking of edging, can we just edge this next segment out of here?
What? You don't want to talk about the Miz and Miz TV and random Saudi Arabian actor guy, number 45, and Australian Miz?
They did the spot better at Mania with Snoop Dogg.
I was about to say, well, that's because Snoop Dogg had incredible in-ring contests. My one comment about this segment is that Snoop Dogg's shoot elbow was way better than this arm flop elbow.
And that, I also say it was better with Snoop Dogg because people actually know who Snoop Dogg is.
Well, I mean, Saudi Arabia did know that.
Does not count. Does not count.
It did to them, but not to us.
Here's this random brown person.
Jesus Christ.
Listen, I have no sympathy for this. Like, that insecurity chick, if you can even call it that. That Miss So Far Solo said, wow, I can put my thumb in there.
Random brown person. You're not wrong.
Hey, listen, I am not up to date on Bollywood movie stars in Saudi Arabia. I'm not up to date on who the locals are.
Not many people are outside of Saudi Arabia.
But that's the thing, is that, like, Joshua, you are a white guy who doesn't know rap and you know who Snoop Dogg is. Exactly.
That is my entire point.
Hey, guys, let's not get chopped up into pieces over all this, all right?
Dear God.
Let's get back to the matter.
3 local internet assholes get murdered by Saudi Arabia. WWE continues to ignore the blood money problems. Nothing changes.
For Saudi Arabia to the United States Championship.
Oh, yeah. What a segue.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
We have Rey Mysterio defending the U.S. title against Logan Paul. Woo! Man,
What was Logan Paul driving?
some kind of vehicle of some kind through the desert.
An ATV.
I have a
It
TV.
was a modified ATV, but it's an ATV.
Why? How does one drive a TV?
A maverickal apparatus. Indeed. Yes.
My initial thing on this match is, wow, the Saudi Arabian crowd busted their nuts so hard over that random actor that they were so exhausted that you could hear a pin drop during this entire match. And the following match.
The crowd died after the John Cena match, and them trying to get the actor was trying to get them, into the match.
Yeah. And honestly, the crowd being dead kind of killed this match.
I liked it.
Me too. It's just it was kind of hard to watch at points because this is good stuff, but the crowd just does not care.
Well, let me talk to you for a second, because my big issue with this is it's not Logan Paul that caused this to die. It's the LWO that caused this to die.
Yep.
No one gives a shit about the LWO. And it has really hurt a lot of Ray's appeal. Also, Ray got a big flabby daddy belly.
Yeah, he kind of does. And the reason why is because the LWO, everyone other than Ray...
A lot of empanadas. That's why Ray's got the gut.
The reason why the LWO is a failure is because the only person in the group that isn't a jobber is Ray.
And Carlito now,
Kind of. And that bungled mess at Fastlane that was that 6-man tag that did not help at all either.
But here's the other thing, too, is that, Ray does have some of the responsibility. Listen, Rey Mysterio is a legend. He's going to be one of the best luchadors of all time. Maybe the best luchador. I don't know. That's for history to decide. But Ray is one of the best wrestlers of all time. He is also 48.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Ray has a lot of miles on that body. He can't do what he used to do. It made me sad in a way, because I wish we had Logan Paul versus 2005 Rey Mysterio.
There's a lot of miles on the circumference of that belly.
That's the thing, is that I wish we had Logan Paul versus 2005.
Ate Trish Jericho's bit.
Rey Mysterio. That's going to be the thing now. Rey Mysterio is so fat.
Rey Mysterio's fat. He ate El Pizza Grande. Oh, I want a big pizza now.
Rey Mysterio is so fat, it's now the 6,190.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this match was fine.
No, it was good. It was good. I love the Death Valley driver to the rolling set time.
Mm-hmm.
I did think, while I appreciated the fact that they mentioned all of the different people who Logan Paul's moves came from, it did get a little irritating after a while.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, look, he did this move. Remember him? Look, he did this move. Remember him? It kind of got... I mean, I did think it was really funny that they took Bojack's baby splash.
Yeah.
And for those of you at home who are not fans or watched the Magnation in its prime, Bojack was a wrestler on that show who used the Ultimate Warrior's baby splash. And it was funny. Go watch it.
Logan Paul's baby splash was better than the Ultimate Warrior's baby splash.
Yeah, I actually thought his Gorilla Press was better too.
Yeah.
But that also was in part because Ray sold it very well.
Yeah. And Logan Paul got some
Ray
height.
is the bestseller. If only we could transmit that line to Solo.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about Rey, and this is something that doesn't get mentioned enough, is that one of the things that a lot of wrestlers who aren't masked have to do is require really strong facials, and Rey doesn't necessarily have to as much because his body language tells the story plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Even though his facials are usually terrific, and when he's wincing in pain or he's because you see all of that, his biggest attribute is his body language. And Logan Paul, I have to say though, he is learning. And he is getting better because he's working different styles with different people, or he's being led and is understanding in an incredible rate.
Dude, when Ray went for that springboard moonsault and almost landed on his head and Logan Paul had to save his ass, that scared the shit out of me.
Dude.
But that's just like Logan Paul saving Rey Mysterio and still able to make the move work.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was but what a heads up play by Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Right there, seriously. That was a great but he really is learning. He takes to this very well. And just kind of further to the point of like them going, oh, that's Bruno Sammartino's bear hug and blah blah blah.
I knew as soon as he put in the bear hug and they were like, oh yeah, bear hug. I was like, yeah, Sean's smiling right now.
No, and I was happy about that. Because this is what I mean about Logan Paul doing things differently. He worked a big man match.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something Logan's done before, but he's learning how to work these different styles with different people. He's getting it. He just gets it. The funny thing for me was when they were doing all these, I'm like, yeah, I don't think the Saudis are getting all these references. It's like, I don't think they know any of these that he's trying to replicate here.
Yeah.
Whether they're gassed or not.
I mean, to be fair, most wrestling fans don't know the references.
Right. Well, most modern fans, yeah. But the other thing about that too is that like the Saudis were kind of like almost a weird hybrid between rowdy American crowds and Japanese crowds, because they wanted to show like the respect of the middle of the match. A lot of the times, I know, and they did that with most of the matches, where they just kind of stayed quiet for it. And it was a very weird crowd how it managed, because they did try to get him in a little bit further, but kind of to the point that you were saying with John Cena, Scott, Ray's experience is great, but he is slowing down, and you can tell.
Yeah.
And he has said himself that he plans on retiring in the next 2 years. It's not a shocker.
No. And that was, and then and here's where the match started going downhill for me. We have a random crony alert.
Yep.
This fucking goober, comes in and goes, hey, I'm gonna give Logan Paul the breast knucks, even though he's got a goddamn screw in his right hand that we always talk about, and it's a big hat on a. So then the random crony.
As soon as I saw brass knucks, I was like, here we go again. His fist is now double hard. Is this a video game where you just upgrade your stats? Just stack things on top of other things?
It's just like you just bought a glove and you get 5 more boosts. But
okay, can I do wrestling psychology for you?
Please.
People know about the fact that Logan Paul has the screw in his hand, and that he will try to use it if he gets the opportunity. So the wrestlers are aware of it. They aren't aware about the brass knuckles coming in whenever they need to. And again, Logan Paul is a heel. He doesn't have to cheat, but he does it anyways.
You know what
I understand.
You know what it made me think of? It made me think of, Sean, you're going to love this reference. You know in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game when you have that uppercut and you have a boxing glove and it like knocks enemies out and you get that upgrade where it's like a steel glove with spikes and it explodes?
Yes.
That's this, except that's a video game so it works. This is kind of silly.
This is still redundant. It's just the Department of Redundancy department. Cheap with something else, a pack of quarters, for Christ's sakes. It's something other than knuckles.
If brass knuckles are his signature weapon, then that's his signature weapon.
But
the screw in his hand should be his signature weapon.
That's what they're branding it, the right hand as. Is it's titanium in his hand. and that's supposed to be. It's just like more metal.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's more offensive: the 1970s bouffant grandmother yellow sweater, or the white pants of Santos Escobar. Both of which equally offensive. He looked like yellow snow. If there was a yellow snow churro, that would be Santos Escobar.
I know what's more offensive than both of those combined. The fact that he's still a wrestler in this company. And Yellow Snow is just piss on snow. He's cold as ice, and he's just piss. So that
he's willing to sacrifice your love.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna go into my hatred of Santos Escobar. It's well known and established.
It's just because you hate a foreigner. That's all it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He hates that brown man.
Indeed.
And the Saudis were like, he's brown, but he's not our brown.
Wrong shade. Wrong shade, bro.
By the way, this is just a small thing. Like, it's not a major thing. I noticed that Rey Mysterio had his contacts for his blue eyes, and halfway through the match, one of them fell out.
Yep.
Is that the one that Seth Rollins popped out? Because then that would make sense.
No, he didn't have a tennis ball like hanging from his face in this match.
Okay. Well, it was a good match nonetheless. It was fine. It was fine.
It's just the implication that's coming up is the fact that, okay, now we pretty much know that Santos Escobar is going to be involved in the storyline with Rey Mysterio.
And here's another implication. If Logan Paul is going to... Does anyone know if Logan Paul's schedule in WWE is going to change at all since he's champion? Is he going to appear more?
He has said that he plans on appearing more when he gets the opportunity.
Okay, good, because if his schedule pretty much stayed the same... If his schedule stayed the same, we would end up with 2 absentee champions on SmackDown, and that would suck.
Well, Logan Paul is a free agent, quote unquote, so he goes to both companies.
Both companies being Raw and SmackDown. That'll be important come Survivor Series time, kids.
Yeah. I love it when my favorite companies go to battle in a company versus company match in the company.
You know,
or the company, the softball game, as you call it.
Come and knock on our doors. Three's Company.
And if you want to buy shirts for those 2 companies, that are not companies, they're just side parts that they're supposed to be branded as different brands, even though it's the same brand. Go to WeShop.com and buy shirts.
Dude, I wish John Ritter was still alive so he could just randomly show up at a WWE event because I made a Three's Company reference.
Well, Desmond Ritter's still alive, but he got benched.
I don't know who that is.
Whatever.
Subscribe to Super Jam Session V2 if you want to know what we're talking about.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that now we have Logan Paul as the U.S. champion. Like, they're just stealing more of my ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep pushing for that royalty check, Sky.
I need it.
Yeah, I know you do. I hope you get it.
But Logan Paul being the U.S. champion is so good on so many levels.
Mm-hmm.
Because he gave him a title. Now he goes around his podcast talking about it. He hopefully will appear more, so hopefully we get more matches. And, again, this is only his 8th wrestling match.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that WWE would have the balls to have him put that title on the line in a celebrity boxing match?
Oh my god. Oh, I would absolutely do that. That would be hysterical.
Do you think that would help them? How wild would that be?
I think Vince McMahon would have a heart attack. Logan, do it.
Well, he'd have to be making a significant amount of money for that promotion. And also, in the same token, if Logan Paul lost that belt, that might be the end of Logan Paul in WWE.
Yeah.
Vince's one rule is if you're going to do outside shit, you have to win.
Yeah.
Unless Logan Paul gets a person that ends up coming to WWE.
His brother.
I was thinking Jake Paul at the same exact time that you said that.
Logan Paul versus versus Jake Paul in a celebrity boxing match for the United States Championship or KSI.
Oh, triple threat boxing match.
Yeah. No. That would. If they literally killed boxing by doing that, that would be by having.
I mean, you could argue they've already killed boxing.
Well, yeah, but like Mike Tyson still fights occasionally.
God, I was thinking Mike Tyson biting that dude's ear off. Why, Sean? Why are me and you like mentally linked?
Well, we're mentally something. But speaking of,
Yeah.
let's move on to the next match.
Speaking of which, a woman who's been in a lot of Make-A-Wish ads.
Yeah, it's Io Sky versus Bianca Big Hair. Patrick, I think you mean air. Yes, you are not the only one who brought a SpongeBob the movie video game reference to the table today.
I crack up every time Wade Barrett says Bianca.
Yeah,
It's
big anchor balloons.
Big Anchor Bell. Big Anchor Belly.
Well, I will have to say before we get into this match, they announced that they're going to Australia for Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say that is really, really smart. because modern American fans, they won't pop for those spots anymore.
Yeah.
The Australian fans will 100% pop for those spots.
When they
They'll just be happy to be there, just like the Wembley crowd.
Yeah,
Dude.
that was a smart move on WWE's part, knowing to go abroad for a clearly dying concept.
Dude, it's funnier than that because there's a teeny bit of a story. So they actually announced that a couple months ago before they did the like the day that they fired a bunch of people. And one of the people that was super excited, she put on Twitter, it was Emma. She put on Twitter, "Wow, I'm so excited for the opportunity to perform in Australia in front of my hometown." And then she, like, an hour later retweeted and responded to her own tweet saying, "Well, I'm not going to do that because I got fired today."
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it when a tweet ages like milk in an hour.
Yeah, we hate to see it, and we hardly saw you.
Yeah.
It's going down.
Because what was the point?
Yeah.
There really wasn't one. It was just kind of, she was another one of those, let's get her away from AEW when they were kind of hot, and now AEW is way, 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 way not a threat anymore. So
Well, actually, to be fair, Emma was actually an Impact at the time.
Oh, well, okay, that's a legitimate power play then. Good job. Well, because TNA is coming back.
Ugh.
TNA, well, yourself, because I think they need it. They need some tits.
They need to die. The fact that company is still alive, it's the Dana Brooke of wrestling companies.
I give credit to them for sticking it out this long, and considering that they're not doing coke and they're staying on the air.
Okay. The news kind of broke, I think it was today or yesterday, that for those of you that are unaware, NWA Power, or NWA in general, just got a brand deal, like a TV deal with the CW network. And their last pay-per-view had a segment backstage where people were, quote-unquote, snorting coke. Some executives saw that, and now they might lose that TV deal that they just got. And CW sent out a statement saying, basically, that the only shows the NWA can do that they will promote will be the ones that they put on the CW app.
Which means
Yikes.
they somehow have less people watching than they did when they had no deal.
They will have less people watching than when they had Tyrus as world champion. Think about that.
You can drink on national TV, but you can't do cocaine. I find that hypocritical.
Yeah, that's hypercritical. Man.
Yeah.
Super
It's both hypocritical and hypocritical. Like, hypocritical is just putting it into overdrive. Hey-ya.
I got some hypocritical cream once and just lathered it all over my balls, and it's I haven't been hard since. Well, speaking of
being flaccid, we had Io Sky versus Bianca.
Big hair.
Yeah, and The crowd was somehow even more dead for this match than the previous one.
Yeah, well, no, that's, I wouldn't say somehow. We know how.
Yeah, I was trying to be polite.
But I will say, though, Lita's, the Lita style gear, I really like that kind of outfit on Io Sky.
Me too. I thought it was a nice little homage.
She looked like she was going to a rave.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a bad thing?
Hey, she's not feeling the glow, so let's wins as they come.
Speaking of TNA.
Yeah. Only in the most literal sense. But here's the thing.
Jimmy Uso, why did you choose her? Continue, Sean.
Yeah, this crowd could not give a single shit. And the thing that bothered me about this is that, like, for most of this match, it wasn't bad, but the roles were fugazi.
Yeah.
Like, Bianca was a mad, almost heel babyface, and Io is a kind of honorable heel. So it made it a very weird dynamic for a lot of this.
What I got out of this is Bianca Belair has been gone for a while, and she's back, and she's still Bianca Belair.
And she lost the tassel of hair.
Wow. That is the character progression that we've gotten. One tassel of hair has been removed.
But she no-sold it. Just
so she's in a John Cena role?
Well, she wasn't screaming spots at the top of her lungs, so I'll give her that.
No, she was not. But I will say this: the moonsault, the first moonsault that Io did to the outside, boy, I didn't realize you can actually land those.
I know, right? It actually looked like it kind of hurt.
Yeah,
I was amazed.
Wow. You know, I never thought that. I never thought that was possible. But in any case, let alone, you know what? Io said, you know what it is? I just realized what the problem is. The reason why Charlotte can't hit it is because she literally cannot angle her body correctly anymore because she took too much out of her face that the wind, when she flips up and over, just hits that plastic and it just like flips off like a plane and she just flies way too high up and over and doesn't hit anybody.
Charlotte is a human she's a human paper airplane.
You know, Io Sky, this is not a knock, has a thicker face because she hasn't, carved at it like a jack-o'-lantern. And therefore, her moonsaults actually land.
Oh, God.
I'm willing to test this theory.
How are you going to test this theory, Sean?
I have my methods.
Walk us through your hypothesis.
Well, here's the thing. I wish that Bianca had walked a little bit more. I'm kind of skipping ahead a lot here, unless either of you have anything meaningful to say about some of the middle spots here.
There was something meaningful that happened in the middle of this match?
Yeah, okay.
Because I missed it.
So Bayley comes over and does the whole, hey, don't do that. I'm distracting the referee. Bianca goes to throw Bayley into the side barricade. And then Io Sky comes to attack Bianca and instead hits Bayley. And Io Sky stands there with the same look she has on her face for most of the time. And she said they're looking like, oh no, I may have messed up. And Bianca just stands behind her and just waits. And just waits. Like, all right, did the camera get enough of Io Sky selling the fact that she hit her own partner? You know, like, Bianca, you could have hit her 48 times. In the time that you just let her register that she messed up. And she's literally 2 feet behind her. And Bianca just sitting there like, what are you waiting for?
She's the babyface. She waits for her to turn around. She's not going to sneak up behind her. She's not a heel. You think that they'll turn Bianca heel? Just think of the amount of Twitter or X backlash they'll get for turning Bianca, the token black girl, heel.
Think of the children.
Yeah. Just the black ones, though.
Well, in any case. Yes. It's like Skyler's the audience where it's just dead silence, and there's just one guy coughing awkwardly.
Yeah, in discomfort.
Well, and speaking of, then Kairi Sane comes back, and my one comment about Kairi Sane coming back is Saudi Arabia would not have been my choice of venue to return Kairi Sane in.
A frickin' men. Yeah. Worst place to re-debut her at because Saudi Arabia was like, oh, cool. Who?
Yeah.
There's another one.
With more women's wrestlers? I thought we had enough as it was.
Sean, when did you become the spokesperson for the entire Saudi Arabian audience?
I'm pretty sure I've been saying that kind of thing for a long time.
Yeah, you should be their spokesperson.
I'm just saying, it's like, look, I don't want to be sent away in a package deal kind of situation here.
Yeah.
But in any case, I do have to say, my favorite part of this match was the finish, though.
Yeah.
Because it made me laugh a lot. So, they do the thing that they do in every Bianca match, where they have her get up out of the ring after Kairi Sane does her little Guga, and the referee counts up to 9, and then Bianca just jumps up and pops back in. But Io Sky immediately just moonsaults on top of her, like the instant she gets into the ring, and it is the funniest finish.
I loved it because it was so funny. It was great.
It was almost an E-Fed-like ending.
Yeah.
Where she just got up and just the second she rolled in, wham!
Yeah.
It was great. It was like, okay, the finish was good. And the fact that Cole mentioned the canon afterwards of like, well, the person that messed up set Kairi Sane packing was Bayley, and now Bayley got hit by Io, so now what's that relationship? Like, they're trying to build something.
Yeah.
I respect that. But Io Sky's not doing it for me as world champion. But she's getting there. But they're leading towards something, so I'm willing to wait it out and see what they're doing.
I agree.
I just wish we got to this point where, like, we have something's going to happen with Bayley and something's going to happen with Io.
I know. Part of me wishes they get to it, but I would say it's more interesting with Kairi Sane in the picture now. I just wish they didn't do this in Saudi Arabia, so Kairi Sane could have actually gotten a reaction.
Yeah.
It also doesn't help that she looks like an anime Japanese girl.
Well, I'm glad Kairi Sane didn't try to do a moonsault, because she probably would have overshot it and missed.
I miss how clean and sick her elbow looks, though.
Yes, always.
Oh, she has the best diving elbow.
Best elbows.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, that's something interesting, because Bayley has a pretty mean elbow drop herself.
Mm-hmm.
But different style, different kind, different deal. And so we now move on.
Yes, we do. We have Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest in a singles match. Skyler, what did you think of...
With Bad Bunny and WWE 2K23.
Shut the fuck up. What did you think of this match?
It was a Cody Rhodes match.
Thank you. Sean.
This just goes to show that the Judgment Day are the bloodline in training. Because this is like the Three Stooges version of the bloodline.
It's the emo bloodline in training.
The bloodline always interferes, and the bloodline always succeeds in their interference. The Judgment Day always interferes, and they always get foiled.
Yeah.
So they literally are they are the bloodline in training. They just haven't seemed to figure out how to do it. And this, once again, first of all, if I was Damian Priest, I'd be registering a lot more anger walking down to that ring.
Remember when he was bipolar a couple years ago and would freak out?
I'd like to see some of that, more of that freak out right now. I mean, he just had his world title ticket stolen from him. They didn't even mention about Priest scouring the whole building looking for Zayn. That would have been a nice, skip the whole Miz and Waller stuff. Just doing a backstage segment of him looking for Zayn with his belt and getting real frustrated and, throwing a Ty Dillinger-like security guard over a barricade or something, or one of those big black wheeled things that don't have anything in them most of the time. Him just registering the frustration, him coming out there mad, instead of just looking like nothing had happened.
Yeah, that
annoyed me. I'm like, God, can we have some continuity in our presentation here?
Yeah,
Give me a through line.
I agree.
To this whole match.
You are 100% correct. More of a through line than just Cody's ankle.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that this was a hot start.
Mm-hmm.
And but I did not like the fact that Cody Rhodes dropped down for that Goldust uppercut and just touched Damian Priest's ear.
He did it twice. He dropped down, ear caress, dropped down again. I'm gonna rub your ear again. You have an ear infection. I'm trying to get a closer look. Come here, Damian.
Your earwax is eerily similar in texture.
There's a quarter in your ear.
Of course, you're gonna mention the placenta.
There's a placenta in your ear, Brandy. When did you get here?
Oh man.
Little known fact: Damian Priest likes getting it in the ear.
Weird question. Do you think Brandy's placenta tasted like brandy?
I'm not Cody Rhodes, so I cannot answer that.
I was about to say like the drink.
Yeah.
That's a question for Cody. We should go to the next.
Good thing eating it didn't kill Cody, but the flatliner Priest nearly did.
I love Damian's lifting flatliner. It looks so good.
Yeah. Oh no, it looks great. And this match had some moments in it, and then JD McDonough comes out. This dude is legitimately useless. What is the point of this? What is the point of this jelly bean shaped dude?
I like JD McDonough, but he's basically just the bag carrier for the Judgment Day.
Dude, his face looks like if you've cut like a golden potato in half and seared it in oil. It's like I don't get it. I don't get the point. He doesn't help this faction at all. And then there's my favorite part of the match is when Dominic comes down and he's the heel that actually gets heat.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, he didn't even do anything. He didn't even do anything. He just walked down with a chair, and people booed the fuck out of him.
That's when you know.
And that was it. And then Jay literally goes, look at him, like the two jellyfish and shark tail, and everybody runs away. And here's my thing. Does it always have to be 3 Crossroads that does it?
First off, you mean The Reckoning?
No.
2, I miss when... Is it just me, or is the Crossroads of Cody now just more gentle?
Yeah.
It's like Drew's Future Shock DDT.
Well,
Yeah.
Drew's Future Shock, he just does it too fast. Although I love the one he gave Seth on the show. But Cody, I think it's because Cody's older, and he's not as nimble as he used to be when he was a youngin'. So now he can't get the full, like, tilt on the Crossroads that he used to get. But
Well, I don't know whether maybe that pec injury had anything to do with that either.
no, his Crossroads when he, like, since, like, the end of his AEW run to the beginning of his second WWE run, it's been very gentle. So it was before the pec.
That's WWE then. That's just being like, you could do less and get away with it because...
Also, what is it with the 3 goofs being chased off by Jey Uso of all people?
Because Jey Uso and Cody are tight, dog.
Because they sang the song 3 Little Birds wrong and they got offended.
Yeah. He threatened to beat him with a chair because they sang the song wrong.
And then he literally, like, troll ran after them with the chair.
That made me laugh.
And
I wish Cody Rhodes would have just won with the bionic elbow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but
Well,
I wish it wouldn't have been 3 Crossroads. You saved the 3 Crossroads for beating Roman at WrestleMania. Oh, wait.
they already did try that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Cody and Priest, I wish this match were just in a different context with different circumstances, because I think these two would have a good match without all of the shenanigans surrounding it.
I liked the match, and I was into it
Yeah, I did too.
until the shenanigans, because my problem is at this point, this is now 3 matches in a row with interference, and this would not be the last match to have interference. So All in all, 4 matches back to back to back, non-stop interference. Too much.
Yeah.
And this was the most egregious because this was the interference that did nothing.
Yeah, bloodline and training, and the problem in here is, and you know the most disappointing thing of all this, we didn't even get a single Yaboo.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
And I was a little sad about that. I'm like, if Finn Balor's gonna be out here and I'm gonna have to put up with this guy, at least give me what I like about him.
Yabooed line in training.
Yeah, it's but again, nothing was offensive here. It's just typical formatting problems, like usual.
Yeah.
With it, but it was still fine. 2 perfectly capable wrestlers doing perfectly capable wrestling.
And now we go to our main event. The one that everyone was looking forward to because it was impossible to predict. Roman Reigns defending the WWE Undisputed Universal Intergalactic Scottish Supernova Ultra Lightning Weight Candy Chocolate Chip Christmas Tree Santa Claus is Not Real Championship against LA Knight. Huh?
How dare you?
Yeah, that belt was red once.
And blue.
Santa was real to me, damn it.
And you know what? Santa was before they actually dyed him red to match Coca-Cola. He had blue gear on.
Wow.
So and the Universal Championship was also blue. So argument invalidated.
Unpopular opinion, perhaps. The new-ish, quote-unquote, if you can even call it that, design for the Universal Undisputed whatever the fuck championship, it's growing on me. I feel like the closer the camera looks, like the closer the camera gets to it, the less the gold plate with the water droplets on it stands out and looks weird. The farther away the camera is, the more it looks like, you know, they just put the WWE logo in front of a bunch of mustard. But I'm starting to like the design. I'm getting used to it.
Black and gold helps, but the Velcro still kills it.
Yeah, it does. And not even the replica belts have the Velcro. Just as an interesting point here. But here's the interesting thing. The vignette for this matchup, this reminded me of, like, Xbox Operation Desert Storm. You know, like late PS1, early PS2 tutorial pregame cutscene.
Oh my god, you're so right.
It's like, it's right in that line with those kind of texts and like the backdrop and the way they did it. And they, and the signs. Then LA Knight comes down and man, he is so goddamn over. Even in Saudi Arabia, look at how many signs they had for that dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And even I didn't even mind Byron as the announcer here. I really didn't hate it. And this was the
At least this match was only 20 minutes instead of the usual 45.
yeah, I actually said my guess was 27 minutes and I was wrong by 7. But the thing is that what I loved about these intros is that as Byron is trying to nervously do them, they're yelling at each other.
Oh yeah, they're getting into a shoving match.
They're getting into it, and I was like, that is what I like about this, what LA Knight's doing. He's keeping this interesting. You know? Even Heyman's late waddle. Heyman was active. You could tell when Heyman is really invested in an opponent that Roman Reigns is in and wants to help that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because he'll do stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And Heyman interference I will never not like. Because he's so damn good.
And he's so immobile that him trying to interfere is just naturally funny.
Everyone's like, "Aw."
Someone's grandfather made his way over the barricade.
Yeah, but then we get Mr. Charlie Chan or whoever this guy is, Chris, perhaps his name is.
No, stop. You stop that right now, young man.
Well,
He was released from prison because God has abandoned us.
Well, listen, referee Chu could not keep counting. And to be fair, they went outside a lot and stayed there for a lot. But the referee had to keep breaking up the count, and then he just like gave up.
There was a point where like they had been out for a long time, and then the camera panned a little bit back to the referee, and the ref said, 1! And I was like, what?
No, but
dude.
What we missed before that was the camera was on Roman Reigns, and he's looking up at the referee, and he nods his head like this. Like referee Chu was like, "Can I count now?"
Oh my god!
And he's like, "Yeah, count." Like,
I didn't know that Roman Reigns signs all the referees' paychecks.
Yeah.
No wonder he wins. No wonder he's been champion for 3 years. He's bought off all the refs.
Yeah, seriously. Well, clearly by his very accurate Uragi bottom.
Yes.
His Saudi Uragi bottom. Speaking of his bottom, I have 2 words for you, gentlemen.
Would it be red underwear by any chance?
It would. It would.
Dude,
I hate this joke so much. Can we let it die?
No, it will die when he comes out with blue trunks.
It's not a joke.
It's a lifestyle.
Yes.
Dude,
It's a society.
Sean, the day is going to come where Roman Reigns is going to come out and he's going to wear blue tights.
And we're all going to jump out of our chairs going, "Oh my god, it's going to happen."
No, the thing is, the only people that are going to jump out of our seats singing hallelujah is going to be me and you. Not even Skyler, because Skyler hates this bit. But me and you are going to lose our shit.
Yeah.
And then Roman's going to win anyway. And ruin it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but then we'll know they're listening.
Yeah. At that moment.
For a fact they're listening. Because we're the only ones who are consistently pointing this out.
Dude, we are going to keep doing it until the day he buys new underwear.
Or retires. Whichever comes first.
That's his retirement match. He just leaves his red underwear in the ring. And that's it.
And then, you know...
Just leaves butt naked.
I will say, this match was one of Roman's better this year.
I agree.
And LA Knight held up his. I thought that the crowd really got behind him. He kept them in it, even when they wanted to be quieter.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it helps that LA Knight had him wrestle an actual wrestling match with not that much acting.
Yeah, that did help.
Yes.
That did definitely help. And I think that's what hurt him and Roman and Jay so much. Is that everything with Bloodline has to be drama instead of wrestling. LA Knight had to kind of split it so where you're getting a little bit more of the Roman Reigns that we didn't mind having a title reign this long. But then nobody, speaking of You Can't Hear Me, somebody we have not talked about all night came in at the 11th hour to come deliver the biggest botch of the technical game. Kevin Dunn.
Oh no.
I don't know what happened, but the commentators cut out. Then he was trying to figure out which one because Roman Reigns is talking in the ring to LA Knight. He tried to turn that mic on. He tried to keep the commentators on. They're talking at the same time, so he just shut them both off. Then he couldn't get them back on. Then we couldn't hear anything for like a minute and a half. And all I could think of was Triple H's old theme song that said, "Yo, Dunn, keep your finger off the switch."
Okay, I have my own little nitpick critique of this match. You know the spot where LA Knight jumps to the top rope and does the superplex?
Yeah.
It was cool when he did it, except this is the 3rd time of the night that spot was done.
Yeah.
Logan Paul, I think, did it, and Seth Rollins absolutely did it.
Well, this leads to another question, and this is something that we know the wrestlers just don't care about anymore, but is that the fault of LA Knight? Or is that the fault of the people who are not the main event doing it before the main event?
Both, because you should communicate what we're doing in each other's matches to people that are earlier on the card.
Yeah, but everyone wants everybody else's spot.
Then if they do it, then come up with something else to do, even if it's your gimmick.
There's only so many spots, though.
Yeah, and AEW's using all of them.
In every match, constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they saved the Triple H stare bump for Roman Reigns and LA Knight.
True.
Well, because it's Roman Reigns. That's part of his deal. But the thing is, they were doing some bargain bin stuff in this matchup. They got a nice little 2-for-1.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why spend 7 minutes a piece on a table spot and a barricade spot when you could just do them in about 30 seconds, one right after the other?
I wonder if they got told to go home.
I know I was ready to. And, you know, but they do the thing to Jimmy where he gets hit on through the table and then Roman Reigns spears. Oh, and I threw the barricade.
Dude, okay, one thing I noticed real quick that made me laugh and that kind of killed the finish for me. When LA Knight leaned up against the barricade, it tilted and broke. So when Roman speared him through it, there was no impact and it did not look devastating at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Well, not that the repeated interference from Jimmy Uso rather, like usual, and Solo like usual, wasn't enough. And then he rolls LA Knight in, spear, 1, 2, 3, and to the surprise of nobody, Roman Reigns has beaten LA Knight in the way that he's beaten pretty much everybody.
I can't believe that happened, Sean.
And I will say this, Michael Cole had the line of the night. I said it to you when it happened, and I'm saying it here. He said, but it's the same old story when it comes to Roman Reigns, and I could not have said that better myself.
That is true.
And
Cody
now
should have
we're
won at
actually
Mania.
legitimately not getting it until either Rumble or WrestleMania, his next title defense.
Yeah, apparently Roman's not even going to be involved in Survivor Series War Games.
Yeah.
It's kind of easy to be a 1 million day champion when you only defend your belt 4 times a year.
Well, part of me thinks that he is actually not doing as well physically as people think he is. And there's been kind of whispers about that his body is also starting to break down because, remember the dude did have cancer.
Yeah.
So, he is worn through a lot. So even though he's still on the younger side, he's got a little bit more miles on him than some others. So there is talk that once he loses this title, that's it for a considerable amount of time until probably one last little babyface run to end his career. But So,
ladies and gentlemen, that was Crown Jewel. All right, Skyler, since you have been coughing and sputtering your way, the little engine that could, throughout this entire review, I want you to give us your thoughts in summary with your rating right now.
And again, I apologize for being sick, guys. I'm just trying to power through it. I'm a babyface. I take my vitamins. I say my prayers. I do what I gotta do right.
And he gives me so many leg drops. I love it when the inside of your knee lands right on my larynx.
Right, just go testify against JoshAgeddon in court.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it was Crown Jewel. It was Saudi Arabia. I wish that we didn't have to get so many of these shows back to back to back. The Survivor Series is only going to be in a couple of weeks. I'm just like, oh, God, give me a break.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I will say that this was a good show. It's just, I didn't even talk that much about Roman Reigns and LA Knight because I've seen the Roman Reigns match, and I'm tired of the Roman Reigns match, and I want people to do stuff other than the Roman Reigns match. I worry for LA Knight. I really do, because this may be he was good, and we made him try to look good in defeat, but, he's not going to get back to this point. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they could have pulled the trigger on this night, though.
But they have to pull the trigger at some point with LA Knight, otherwise the people are not going to care as much.
I mean, Cody is still over despite losing to Roman at Mania, so it's possible that LA Knight will survive this.
Is Cody any more important right now than he was before that match?
He's still important, but I wouldn't say as important.
And he's not as hot. It is undeniable that he is not as hot right now.
That is true.
That's the thing. Cody had the luck of having a Brock Lesnar feud right after. What does LA Knight do from here?
I think he's got plenty of feuds with the actual bloodline themselves. I'm just afraid he won't win those matches.
My thing.
Go against Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa.
I hope that they do some kind of like Judgment Day Bloodline Alliance War Games against a bunch of babyfaces, and LA Knight gets the winning pinfall in that match. That's what I would do.
If Cody's in the match, he's gonna get the pinfall.
Yeah, there's that.
What I'd like to see is LA Knight going on to potentially team up with somebody, or whatever the case is, that they go on for this fight, or he's going to get close, maybe a rematch with Roman at the Rumble, and the person that screws him over at the Rumble is John Cena. Because he cannot win, and he's bitter, and he's resentful, and he retires by losing properly, definitively, to LA Knight, the clearly bigger, better megastar, but we get a 2-month. Cena's a heel, but he's not. He's just a desperate babyface, but he can act like a heel because he's desperate and maybe cheat or try to cheat, but it doesn't work out. So the one.
But that depends on if John Cena goes back to acting with the SAG stripes.
Right, but then.
But anyways, this is a lot of hypothetical. Just going into Crown Jewel itself and just looking at the event as a standalone event, I would say that this was a good show. It's WWE's trend of producing good shows. I just wish the TV was more watchable. I can't even say it. God, I wish the TV was more watchable.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, Raw has been a lot better than it used to be. I've actually been watching.
3 hours long.
True, but I've been watching every week, and it feels more like an hour and a half when I watch it.
Well, maybe an hour and a half to you, but it's 3 hours to me. With that, I'm going to give this a 7 and go die in a hole.
Oh my god. Wow. Well, while Skyler is digging his grave, Sean, as we hear the faint sounds of shovel scuffling in the distance, what are your thoughts on Crown Jewel?
Well, dare I say this is maybe one of the best Saudi shows they've done?
Low bar.
That is
it is a low bar.
That is a low
bar.
bar.
It is a low bar. It is. But still, it's one of the best Saudi shows they've done. One of the things that I think that we do not talk about, at least we haven't this year, is that these shows have been actually canon. Because remember, there was that weird, awkward phase when they first started doing these Saudi shows where, they were like, yeah, these are shows, but they don't really fit into our stories, but they are. So we use some of it, but we act like none of it happened, like Taker randomly winning that Battle Royal.
Yeah. Remember the greatest Royal Rumble with that ugly green belt?
Yeah. Which they did mention the greatest Royal Rumble, but they did not mention Braun Strowman winning it. But
after this finishing up on the
it was this weird semi-canon state that Saudi Arabia had. At least this matchup and at least these stories are still developing their overall arc. And it's like, that's something I think is improved with this. I think the whole moral outrage that people have had now that we've had 10 shows of these has definitely died down a bit. So they've just come to accept it. It hasn't.
And also the other atrocities that have happened in the Middle East.
Whatever's going on and all of that. But I think all of that. I mean, even before that was happening, before any of that was going on, I think people started to soften their tone. But at least they're getting better shows on top of this. It's not Goldberg and Undertaker. This show actually had components of it that made sense with the greater scheme of what they were trying to do. So I appreciate that.
You don't like Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement and wrestling a meaningless tag team match with Triple H against The Undertaker and Kane?
No, I don't.
And him going for a moonsault and having the Charlotte Flair of I kind of hit it, where Taker and Kane just don't catch him at all.
Well, in Sean's case, he has a lazy eye, so he see where he's trying to go. But in any case, sorry, Sean. I do like Shawn Michaels now. I couldn't help it. But anyway, I'm not trying to cast a side eye.
He didn't. I was about to say he didn't see that coming.
Oh,
I'm not trying.
Dude, the worst opponent Shawn could wrestle now would be John Cena. He has a lazy eye and he can't see him.
Yeah, that's right. Well, in any case, before this degenerates into something fool, this is a good show. It was a good show. The match of the night was the opener, but nothing on this show offended, at least from what I watched. So I also give it a 7.
Wow.
I thought it was good.
I also thought it was a good show, but what really hurt it for me was the last 4 matches. All 4 of them had interference. Like, even if the Bloodline one didn't work because it's the Bloodline, they're the inverse. The Judgment Day. Yeah, the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day one didn't work because they're like the inverted, almost emo anti-Bloodline of Raw. That was annoying, and the commentary I thought was pretty bad throughout the night, and Nia Jax still being in this company saddens me, but I enjoyed this show, and the opening match I feel like was the only thing that you should go out of your way to go see, because it was really good. I'm actually going to give this the lowest rating of the 3 of us. I don't remember the last time I've given the lowest rating. I'm giving this show a 6 out of 10. I thought it was good, but I've seen better.
Well, I'll tell you what. Just for the interest of doing what we always do, I'm going to just take off my clothes and slide here into the middle. And I will take half a point off for whatever the Miz and Grayson Waller segment was. I didn't really watch it, but I knew if I did, I would have hated it.
You forgot that brown guy.
And and
Skyler, awkwardly cough. Awkwardly cough.
Yeah, so for that alone, I'm gonna oh God, that was aggressively coughing. That was not awkward. That was aggressive. So I'll go down to 6.5 just to slide into the middle of this whole deal. But it's the same old story, as Michael Cole said. So thank you, fuck you, goodbye.
So Skyler's on top, Sean's in the middle, and I'm at the bottom, bitch. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff, and I'll see you guys next time at your butt. Bye!